beautiful mystery line that Aaron Rodgers popularized a few days ago. Mysterious situation here for the Rams. I want to get into it. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Okay, so here's the deal. Jared Goff went in there, playoff game, Rams game, dozen days after having the thumb surgery. He's got the money. He's got the extension. Seemingly, things are moving in the right direction. He's got a Super Bowl appearance under his belt. He's only 26 years old. That's not a bad list of accomplishments for 26. But here's the boss. Rams general manager Les Snead. Just another reminder, as Aaron Rodgers has told us, there's no absolutes in the NFL.
Oh, Jared Goff's he's a Ram right now. So what's the date? Look at let's say January 26th. I mean, that's a fact. That's obvious. Jared Goff's a Ram in this moment. And I said it's way too early to speculate the future. That's a beautiful mystery.
Key, you have a lot of real estate in L.A. That basically says to me, rent, don't buy.
I'm sorry. Key, I can't. Damn.
Well, this is the second time that we've seen since the end of the season for the Rams that somebody within the front office, meaning head coach Sean McVay and now general manager Les Snead, has commented on the team as well as Jared Goff, but not endorsed the quarterback as the guy for the future. Kind of leaving their options, so to speak, open. Doesn't sound good. But I think when you look at it, Jared Goff has had a mixed career with the Rams. Started off with Jeff Fisher, not so great. Sean McVay comes in. They do well. Then they go to the Super Bowl. But what Sean did is he had training wheels on him early on. Turned to the sideline. I called the play right before the 24, right before the clock ran down. They snapped the ball. Boom, go. Boom, boom, boom. Then they took the training wheels off of Jared Goff, and he didn't have Sean McVay kind of helping him along the way of changing plays and doing things within his headset before they cut it off. And he kind of teetered along. So he's been a solid quarterback, but he hasn't taken the $130, $40 million step. He hasn't done that yet. And I think when you look at it, it's starting to become frustrating to Sean as a coach because he could be a coach killer if he continues playing this way and if you continue to play him. John Wolford kind of gave them a different perspective, I would say, because that was the first time that any quarterback in the regular season went underneath the center for Sean McVay, because that was the first time Jared Goff missed any time. And now you see something different that you start to like. It's like, well, man, if we, maybe if another guy was in here, we may be able to advance because Jared's not playing well. Now, in the last couple games of the season, as you mentioned, Zubin, yes, he had thumb surgery. Doesn't matter. He still he played. Mm-hmm. He played. And he holds the ball too long. He doesn't go through his reads and his progressions the way he should. There's a lot of little different things. This is the most pinnacle time this offseason for him in his NFL career is going to be this offseason, whether he's with a Ram or another team.
It feels like he's on the cliff, Key, and Jared Goff standing there looking at the edge, and Sean McVay and Les Snead is like, if this opportunity comes, we're kicking you right off that cliff. You're out.
Man,
bye.
I hope he got a parachute.
I mean, he'll land on his feet somewhere because I think he's serviceable, right? But, a couple of things. Number one, Snead used the opening and closing line that said, the future is a beautiful mystery. That's interesting. I think I've heard that before. Aaron Rodgers, okay. And then we have scenarios like Jalen Ramsey even going to IG, Key, and actively pursuing Deshaun Watson. Actively saying, hey.
You got to put me up on the IG. What, do we lose him?
He put up a post which said, hey, sure looks like an LA walk to me, or something along those lines. When Deshaun Watson, it was just a picture of Deshaun Watson in New York saying like, hey, we're open for you to come here. I think that just speaks volumes when you have, granted, they're both represented by the same agent, David Mulgeta, but I think that speaks volumes about where not only the head coach sees your starting QB in Jared Goff, but also your teammates. When your teammates are actively saying, hey, to the public, I want to have Deshaun Watson here because Jared Goff, at the end of the day, he's serviceable, but we got here because of our defense, and Jared Goff isn't getting us over the hump to where we want to be as far as winning championships.
You know, the interesting thing would be if the Rams really made a play at a Deshaun Watson, what that team would look like with Cam Akers at running back and Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Everett at tight end and the young Jefferson at the receiver and Aaron Donald and those guys, Taylor Rapp and the defensive side of the ball, Brockers and those guys. What would that team look like with Deshaun? Now, we know Les Snead and the front office have made bold moves before figuring out how to just burn up their draft capital to go get somebody that they feel will help the team win at all costs. It'd be interesting. I'd love to find out if Les Snead is even thinking that way. He'll never tell me, but...
Fellas, I want to do one thing I normally don't. Can you really just quickly, I just want everybody to listen to this, and obviously, look, we talk for 4 hours a day on the radio, so sometimes extemporaneous thought just goes out the window. But guys, just throw up that audio bite from Les Snead that we just ran coming into this segment. Just run the first 4 seconds. I want you to listen to how much difficulty he had saying that Jared Goff is his quarterback right now. Again, it could have been a slip of the tongue, but if we can pop this up, just let's listen to the first 4 or 5 seconds. Listen to this.
Oh, Jared Goff's he's a Ram right now.
I mean, that's all you need to hear. That's the only thing you needed. The way he said it, the choice of words he used. I mean, again, could have been a slip of the tongue. I'm sure that's a question he was expecting.
He took a second,
right?
He took a second. I mean, that pause in between. He's a Ram right now. I mean, that's a second to actually. He could have changed the course of what he was saying, Zubin.
It was the audio Zoom call, man. It messed everything up. He didn't really mean to say that. It was a pause in there because it was scrambling around a little bit, staticky.
All right. Last thing before we get to Buster Only here, because there's some really interesting baseball news this morning. I think Sean McVay, obviously the youngest head coach when hired in modern NFL history. He's gone to the Super Bowl. They made it back to the playoffs this year after missing it the season in between that Super Bowl appearance and this year. Part of his ascension, to your point, is that he got out of Jared Goff with Jeff Fisher and nobody else had been able to unlock at that point.
Jeez.
At this particular point, I mean, think that's fair?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just like, I'm thinking what you're saying out loud in my mind because I was out there and I've seen it firsthand. I'm like, geez.
Now, for McVay, he was able to unlock him. Is part of his ascension and the part of us looking at him as the brilliant coach that he is getting him to unlock it again, take him to another level.
Was starting to wear off, though. Right. That mystique of the boy wonder coach is starting to wear off.
Fair enough. And part of Goff,
but you're not going to get me fired.
Right.
That is his thinking. You know, at some point, it's like, if I keep dealing with you, my house will be up for sale.
That's what I wanted to say. You said it. Okay.
Yes. If I start, because I continue to give you the information to retain, and you can't retain it because you go out there and you put out performances that doesn't work. I gave John Walford the same information that I gave you, and he performed in a small sample size. So it ain't me, it's you. Clearly, you're not going to get me fired.
It leads one to think, right, if John Walford could be that guy. But there aren't a lot of quarterbacks on the market, with the exception of Deshaun Watson or maybe Matthew Stafford, that I would say, okay, that can elevate your team. It makes you think, if it's not just the play in the field, is there something else going on?
Well, that's
is there something else going
for
on?
him.
Exactly.
And there's no doubt about it. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. You look at it, you're right. The two guys were tied at the hip. Both went to the Super Bowl, and both could obviously say, you can't get there without a great quarterback. I made this guy into a great quarterback. This guy made me into a great quarterback.